Hey, thanks a lot for joining us for the 12.3 kickoff. I'm Jeremy, and I'm joined by Virginia. We're both product managers here at GitLab, representing the managed stage of the DevOps lifecycle. We've got a lot of really exciting improvements in store for you in this release, specific to analytics, configuration, compliance, and more. And Virginia's going to kick us off by talking through two really awesome improvements and the insights that we deliver in GitLab thanks to our analytics features. Virginia, over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'll start with one of our issues from the Value Stream Management Roadmap. Some of you remember from 12.2, we extended psychoanalytics to multiple projects and group level. We decided to allow for the customization of the different stages according to customers' software development life cycles. And we started work on a chart which essentially showcases hopefully improvements across the life cycle and the time that issues and merge requests spent in each stage. What we're going to do during 12.3 is shed further light into the process and hopefully help with a problem which is very dear to us at GitLab as well. More specifically, we want to help the prioritization and optimization between bugs, risks, security risks, technical debt, and features for engineering managers, and allow for better communication and discussions between them, their leadership, and product managers. We will also essentially have a community flow diagram, which is going to showcase how many tasks are sitting at each stage on a particular date. The second issue that we'll be working on will be, it is part of our code analytics roadmap. As some of you might remember from 12.2, our first issue was basically in this area was focused on identifying code hotspots because code stability generally is very correlated with code quality. Another issue that has been of particular interest to our community and our enterprise customers was the ability to visualize the number of lines of code contributed across different languages over time. So during 12.3, we're actually going to work on extending this functionality on a project level and hopefully along the next couple of milestones through group and instance level. We also hope that by connecting this through some of the other analytics that we're building, companies are going to be able to measure the impact to code quality and velocity across time by deploying different languages. Over to you, Jeremy.
Thanks a lot, Virginia. That's really exciting stuff. I'm particularly excited for the work type distribution. I think being able to see the issue type flow over time is going to lead to some really powerful insights that engineering managers especially are going to really benefit from. So I'm going to talk through 5 issues that I'm particularly excited about. I think the first 3 are really related to compliance and how we can kind of maintain oversight over what users are doing in GitLab. I think one of the problems that large organizations tend to have is they want to make sure that the members and the people on the instance are in compliant with whatever policies that they have in place. I think we usually have like logs and audit event, kind of an audit event system that allows you to understand this, but it's not currently programmatically available and usually relies on like manual exploration to kind of understand and do forensics to understand what people have done on the instance. So we want to solve this problem by actually creating and introducing an API to be able to retrieve audit events like on the fly and be able to query an endpoint to return just what you kind of like want out of it. This enables you to explore things a little bit better with using an API to do this, and also to pipe that into like an SCIM system like Splunk to be able to do ongoing monitoring. So I think this is really going to extend the ability of instances to understand what's going on their instance. I think the other feature that I'm really excited about is the extension of like IP address filtering. We had first introduced this in 12.2 in our last release, but it was restricted to a single IP subnet mask as well as the UI only. And what we're going to do in this release in 12.3 is we're going to extend that restriction beyond just the UI to both API and Git activity, as well as introduce the ability to specify multiple IP subnets using a common delimited structure. So the idea here is that if you go ahead and apply a subnet mask, you'll be able to rely on this as a single source of truth in terms of what IP addresses are able to access your instance, both on the UI, but as well as for any API and Git activity for a very watertight compliance solution. Also related to this set of problems is using LDAP lock. So in a previous release, we introduced the ability to lock group memberships on your instance, specifically to what's in LDAP's group sync. But one challenge with that was that it was the only members who were able to subvert this lock and add members manually were admins. And what we want to do is we want to make administration much easier for these instances that are using this feature by selectively allowing group owners to manually add members. And a great use case for this is when you have a particular group that is restricted and intended only for use with like contractors that are outside your company. It doesn't make sense to add these folks into LDAP, but instead you can rely on a group owner like within the structure of your instance to manually manage those members. So take some of the burden off administrators, offloads that to that group membership, and makes instance administration much easier. The last thing I'm really excited to talk about is a new focus on imports here in GitLab. And imports are particularly important for us because it helps people kind of get started with the product and onboard their existing code and projects into the application. And we've actually created a new group, the import group, in order to help move more quickly in this area. One of the first things that we're going to start with is the ability to start filtering projects in our existing project importer tool. We're going to start with our Bitbucket server importer, but this is a pattern we're going to start applying to all of our importers. You can see it kind of at work here in this GIF below, where we actually are able to list out the number of projects, filter exactly what we want with a string in the upper right-hand corner. And this allows us, especially in the case of instances with hundreds, if not thousands of projects, to just import the projects that we want and kind of cut down on that noise. So those are the 5 things I'm really excited about. There's plenty more on the way, but what we would love your input and your feedback and contributions on are those issues here. So you can feel free to kind of click into these issues in their 12.3 kickoff document here. Feel free to click into each of these issues. We would love to get your contributions and feedback on what we're doing right. If you think that you'd like to see another angle or another problem explored in this, we'd love your feedback on the issues below. So that wraps it up for the 12.3 kickoff for Manage. Hope to see you there in the next kickoff in a month. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you, Jeremy.